All right, today, guys, we're going to practice making free Bezier curves or working with curved paths without little guides involved today. So we're going to be doing a little bit of peanut tracing, which if you talk to any of my students in the past will stand the hair up on the back of their neck. So but I've trimmed it down quite a bit. We used to do quite a few more peanuts when we started, but we're just going to do a few to kind of get our feet wet. And then we're going to jump into our zoo animal tracing here the next couple of days, and hopefully we'll get that going by the end of the week. We only have a short week this week because of the end of the quarter. So let's go ahead and get started here. This is assignment number 12, Pen Tool Peanut Trace. And you'll notice that on the instructions here today that you're basically going to be practicing just working on control of using anchor points and the handles. The first thing we'll do is we're going to create a new file that's 8.5 by 11, just a normal size, letter size, that's portrait. And I'm going to go ahead and title it right now, 12.6. I just need one of them. It's in inches and hit OK. Then I'll go to my Insight files on my desktop, which you should all have this file in there. So if I go to my desktop, Insight files, and then there's a Peanuts for Tracing. It's right there, looks like that, and hit place. Then I want to go to my layers and lock that layer. In fact, I'm going to drop the opacity down just a bit. I think I'll drop it down to like 50, just so it's a little bit lighter so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Actually, no, I'm just going to leave that at 100. I'll just leave it at 100. Then I'm going to lock that layer right here. Lock. I'm going to add a new layer, retitle it, call it Trace. Just like that. Now, the thing you have to do is you have to zoom in on the area that you want to trace first. So I'm going to start with this little peanut right here. I'll start with that one. Got to set up my pen tool correctly. I'm going to get rid of my fill, and I'm going to add I'm going to go ahead and use a black stroke this time. And then I'm going to zoom in on my peanut. And I'm going to adjust it just a little. There we go. Now I'm going to get my pen. Now notice that on this, there aren't any points. There's no instructions. It's not telling you to shift and drag. So you're going to have to practice a little bit here. And the goal is to make a smooth outline of this, a smooth trace of this form, and make sure that it's a closed path when you're all finished. Okay, so I'm just going to find a place to start. I'm just going to go ahead and start here. I'm going to pull my handle out. And it's a little bit of trial and error as you're working. Okay, and so you'll notice that, see this outgoing handle here. Now, if I try to make this one, go ahead and make this like that. If I want to get it to that length, now notice how it gets chopped off here. So what I'll need to do is adjust that and change that path with the convert tool, this handle, when I get done tracing. So my suggestion is that you just trace around the whole item, get it all closed, and then we'll go back and adjust all of the handles when we're all finished. Now see how far out this handle goes? So if I put this here, I'm going to have a hard time getting that path to follow that curve. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like that, then we'll go back and adjust all of our paths using the convert tool. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of keep going around here, and then I'm going to come to here. I'm going to hold my Alt Option key down. I'm going to go ahead and finish it. So now it's a closed path. Okay, so now I got this kind of roughly traced peanut here. So what I'm going to do now is get my direct select tool, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to break that handle. So I'm going to hold my Alt Option down, and I'm going to adjust just this handle. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with it. I'm still Alt Option, and I'm just going to adjust just this handle. And then there's that. I'm going to come back over here, and now I'm going to select this path, and notice how long this handle is. I'm going to hold my Alt Option down. I'm going to adjust it. See how I can adjust that handle? Same thing with this one. I'm going to adjust it a little bit like that, and it keeps that curve. Okay, it keeps my curve going. And then I'm going to take this one. Now that that handle is broken, I can adjust this handle back around. Adjust that. Then I'm going to come grab this one. I'm going to break that handle. And I'm going to adjust this one a little. And then double check just a bit here. And there's my little trace path. I'm going to fix that just a little bit. I don't want those kind of funny little hanger edges. I'm going to adjust this one down. This one back just a little. That. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to switch my color. I'll fill that with a color. Okay, there's one of them. So there's my one peanut that I've traced. Okay, so I'm practicing that. Now, remember, this is our first time to do this. So you have to really force yourself to just take your time. And I would always suggest that you just do a rough trace around the edges and then come back with your direct select tool and do your adjusting, because you can have a lot more control with your convert tool while you're adjusting than you can when you're trying to pull all those handles out in the exact same width. So let's do one more of those really quick. Okay, so let's do one more real quick. Let's get my color adjusted. I'll get my black stroke lined up. I'll go ahead and do this one on the edge here so we can practice converting and making this straight line here. So I'll zoom in on this one. Get my pen tool, and I'm going to start down here this time. I'm going to pull my handle out, just kind of roughly going around my surface here. Then I'm going to come down here, I'm going to close my path. So now I got that straight edge. Now I'm going to come back with my adjustment tools. I'm going to break some handles, get some curves going here. I'm going to pull this one out just a little bit. Curve that a little bit more. Pull this handle back. Alt Option. Alt Option. Pull that down. Slowly start to get my adjustment made here. Got a little bit to do right there. And realize that we're just practicing. We're learning how to use this tool, the pen tool, and using free trace, because so far what we've done is we used little, I've given you instructions like click and drag, hold the Alt Option down, all of that. Now what you have to do, practice now, is learn how to make your own shapes, because we're going to be working from our drawings here very soon, our zoo animal drawings, and those chair drawings that we did early in the year. And those are going to become digital graphics, and we're going to need to create a piece of design from that. So see this little spot here now? Let's zoom in on that. This little area right here. This is the other peanut here that's overlapping it. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to show you how to add an anchor point. So if you hold down on your pen tool here, you'll see that there are those 4 tools. There's the pen tool for drawing, there's an add an anchor, delete an anchor, and then a convert. You can use Shift C to change that, or we just use the Alt Option to do that, to make any adjustments. Let's add an anchor here, because I want to go from here and I want to go around that. So I'm going to add an anchor right there. See a new path with new handles, and I'm going to put another one right there. So now I have this new, I can now change this path, and I can hold my Alt Option down, and I can break this handle, and now I'm going to go around this little tool here, direct select, and pull that down just a little bit. I grab this guy, pick it up just a little bit more, so that it's going around. So now this other peanut is I'm going around it now. So I'm going to go minus a bit of that. So I added in a little bit of detail that way. Now if I want to fill it with a new color, pick my color out here. And then there's my second little peanut that I've traced. Okay, so we're going to do this a lot of times. We're only going to do these little peanut. You're only going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and don't worry about the quarter. Just do the 10. Just practice, and I want you to really avoid doing this kind of work. Don't just take your pen tool and just click like this. Okay. See how those are all just straight paths? I'm not pulling out any handles. That's not what you're going to do. Okay, you're going to remember to pull out your handle, make your first curve, make your curve. I'm pulling out these. That's by pulling out that handle, it's allowing me to create the path, the curves. And as I draw around this, okay, there's my little peanut. I can now switch that color. There's my rough trace. I can still go back in now and adjust if I need to. Pull this handle out a little bit. This one's actually fairly simple. It's a pretty easy one, actually. There's my little peanut. Now notice that when I did that, I didn't just, I use curves every time. You're not using straight, you're using curved paths. So you have to pull a handle out every time. So remember, you're pulling out to make those curves, you're pulling out handles every time. Okay, to make that create those shapes. Okay, so now it's your turn to practice. So just remember that you're making a new file, and then you're going to place the peanut file out of there, lock that layer, and then you're going to make a new layer called trace. And then set up your pen tool so you have your stroke is filled and your fill is transparent, and then start your tracing. And remember to pull out handles. I would do a rough trace first, then go back with your direct select tool and pull and fix all of the adjust each of the handles, and using your Alt Option to break that handle away from that anchor so it's independent, so you can adjust each one individually. Okay, so let's give that a shot. Good luck. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Thank you.